Hello soulmates, welcome back to my YouTube channel. If you're a new subscriber, welcome. If you're a returning subscriber or a returning viewer, thank you for sticking to my channel. So in this video, I'm going to be teaching us how to cut and sew this notch collar crop shirt. So if this is something you like, I'll suggest that you stay back, relax and watch this video to the end. So let's get right into it. So I've gone ahead to mark the horizontal lines. We'll be drafting out the back pattern first. So I've gone ahead to mark the shoulder line, the chest line, which is your bust measurement divided by 6 plus 1.5. Then the top length. So the top length I am working with is 18 inches. So now this is what we'll have for the back pattern. So next up, I'm going to move on to the Now you are going to place your shoulder measurement divided by 4 plus half an inch. So the reason for the half an inch is because you don't want to join in directly on your shoulder, so you should just fall a little bit because it's a crop shirt. So now I'm just going to go ahead and remark the shoulder line to add the half an inch there. So I'm just going to go ahead and rule a straight line across, just as you can see. So the neck width is 3 inches and the shoulder slope is 1 inch. So I'm just going to go ahead and connect the point, just as you can see. So for the neck depth, I use 1 inches. So I'm just going to go ahead and connect it this way, just as you can see. So next up, I'm going to be placing the bust measurement divided by 4 plus 1 inch ease. Depends on how many ease you want to add, because it's a free crop shirt. So whatever you mark on your shoulder line, on your chest line, you mark it on the waistline, then rule a straight line across. So you get the midpoint of the armhole, you go in by half an inch, just as you can see. So you connect it this way to the chest line just to get your armhole. So this is what we have for the back. So I'm just going to go ahead and cut out this back pattern because you will need it for drafting of the front pattern. So you carefully cut out your pattern this way. So you cut it out this way. So this is our back pattern. So next we move on to the front. Because we are drafting a pattern, so at the top I marked about 6 inches above, and at the side I marked about 3 inches. I marked about 4 inches by the side, then 6 inches above. So that's like our margin line. Do you understand? Because of it's a collar, because it's a notch collar shirt. So now I'm going to go ahead and mark the chest line and the top length. So the chest line is 8.5 inches and the top length is 18, the same way that we drafted for the back. So this is like you're drafting out your basic bodies. So I'm just going to go ahead and roll a straight line across, just as you can see. Roll a straight line across this way. So next thing, I'm going to just go ahead and label the patterns. So label the lines that we are working with, just as you can see. So I already placed the shoulder line, which is your shoulder measurement divided by 2 plus half an inch. So the neck width and the neck depth I am working with is 3 by 3 inches and 1 inch for shoulder slope. So I'm just going to go ahead and connect this point, and I'm going to go ahead and mark out the neckline. That's to draw the neckline, just as you can see. So next thing, I'm going to get the midpoint of the armhole. You get the midpoint of the armhole, come in by half an inch, then connect the points together, just as you can see, then curve it to meet the chest line. Curve it to meet the chest line this way, just as you can see. So at the front now, at that line that I marked, so I'm going to mark 1 inch across. You know, it's a crop shirt, so I'm marking 1 inch for the button stand. So I'm just going to go ahead and rule a straight line, just as you can see. So I'm just going to be extending the neckline, the chest line, and the top length on that button stand. So I'm just going to go ahead and also place our bust measurements divided by 4 plus 1 inch is. So whatever you mark on the chest line, you mark it on the length, on the top length, just as you can see. So I'm just going to go ahead and rule a straight line. That's to connect the points this way. So I'm going to go ahead and label the button stand. So I've labeled it. So next up, we're going to move to the neckline. So now you determine where you want, how deep your neckline should be. So in this case, I'm stopping at the chest line. So I'm just going to be drawing a straight line from the chest line just to connect to the neckline. Can you see? Just connect to the neckline this way. So I'm just going to be doing that. So now I'm going to be bringing the back pattern. So now this back pattern, you measure around the shoulder to the center back. So whatever you have, you extend it on the shoulder line of the front. So you make sure that it's slanted. I think I had about 3.25. So then you rule a straight line, just as you can see. Make sure that it's slanted. So now for it to relax well at the back, so on that line, you go out. That's behind that line. You mark a 1/4 of an inch. Then you connect it back to the neckline. So that first line we ruled, we're not making use of it. So we now have a new line. Now you're going to be determining the length, that's the width of the collar. So in this case, I'm using about 4 inches. So you're just going to be ruling a slanted line, not a straight line. It should be slanted this way, just as you can see. Now we're going to be moving to the neckline at this point. So we want to make the collar notched. So now you're going to determine how the spacing that you want at that point. So in this case, you can use 0.5 or 1 inch. Do you understand? But in this case, I think I marked 0.75. So then you rule a slanted line, just as you can see the way I'm ruling it. So you take the curvy part of your ruler to connect it this way, to connect your collar. So you take the curvy part of your ruler. So you can see the way I'm doing it. You take it this way. So now we have the collar stand. So now we're going to go ahead and cut. Just carefully look at how I am cutting the collar. So you are going to cut out the collar first. Just carefully look at the way I'm cutting it. Please don't rush the process. So just carefully cut out the pattern. So this is what we have for the collar. So then we'll go ahead and cut the other part as well. So guys, if this is something you like, please don't forget to hit on the subscribe button, comment, like and share. So now we'll just go ahead and cut out the front pattern this way. So I'm just going to be cutting the excess of the button stand area. So this is what we have for the collar. By the time you fold it, that's what is going to be the notch collar and that opening by the side. So this is the front pattern and the collar. So I'm going to go ahead and place the back collar side by side. So this is it. So we're going to be moving on to the sewing tutorial. So I had about 1.5 yard of Ankara fabric, then half an yard of plain fabric. So I'm mixing it up. So now here is the collar. So I have about 2 pieces of the collar, the plain and the Ankara. So I had about 0.5 inches all around it, just as you can see. But I cut it on fold. Just as you can see. So there's also a point that I notched. So like I said, I had a 0.5 inch around the collar. So this point that I notched was that point that we stopped, that we slanted when we were cutting. So I just notched that part a little bit. So this is the back pattern. Around the shoulder, the neckline and the armhole, I added 0.5 inches. So at the hem line, that's the top length, I added 1.5 inches. So by the side, I added 1.5 inches as well. So now I'm going to be bringing the front pattern. So this is the front pattern. I've already cut it out. So I added 0.5 inches around the center front, the neckline, the armhole and the shoulder. While at the length, I added 1.5 inches. By the side, I added 1.5 inches too. So this is what we have for the front. So I'm going to go ahead and take off the pins. So I'll be taking off the pins. So I want to cut like a facing. Yes, a facing. So you are going to just take part of your pattern paper. There's no measurement, but just make sure that you go in a little bit. So I'm just going to be cutting this part out, which will serve as the facing for the collar. So now this part you are going to go ahead and cut. So here, that's why I'm using a black fabric. So all around the shoulder, the neckline, the center front, and by the side I added 0.5 inches. Then at the bottom I added 1.5 inches, just same as the length. So now we're going to be joining the shoulder. So I'm taking off the back pins. So I'm going to be placing the wrong side of the back like this, then the wrong side of the front. I'll be placing it together. So we're going to be joining the shoulder by 0.5 inches. We join it by 0.5 inches. So for this one, I'm going to be taking off the pins. So now from the right side, you fold it to the wrong side by 0.5 inch. Let me state it again. From the right side, you fold it to the wrong side by 0.5 inch. You just stitch it on a straight line. Do you understand? So now this is what we have after joining the shoulder together. So now I've already stitched this one as well on both sides. So now we're going to be placing it on the center front. That's where you have your collar stand. So you're going to be placing wrong side facing wrong side. Do you understand? Then use your pin to hold it all the way down. So you do that for the other side as well. Wrong side facing wrong side. So you're going to be sewing 0.5 inches all the way straight down. So I'm also going to be stitching it by the side. That's the 1.5 inches that I had it by the side. I'm going to also go ahead and stitch on both sides as well. So now this is what we have after stitching by the side and joining that part. You can see what it's looking like. This was the idea of using the plain fabric, just to show you how the notch collar would be. You can see what it's looking like. So this is what it gives you. Now we're going to move on to the collar. So I'm going to be taking off the pins. You can add stay to your collar. So I'm going to be taking off the pins. Then I'm going to be placing wrong side facing wrong side. Remember, I notched it. I'm notching that place so it will be a guide for me. So I notched on both sides, so that's the point that I notched. So like I said, I notched it on both sides, placing wrong side facing wrong side. So I'm going to sew about 0.5 inches from that point to the other end of the other side of the collar. So this part that you can see, this part on my hand, that is where I notched, because you are going to be sewing on the top of the collar, not the one that goes to the neckline. Do you get? So you sew by 0.5 inch. So I've gone ahead to sew, so I'm notching the part so that I can relax well. By the time you notch it, you flip it to the other. You turn it to the other side. You make sure that you give it a good press. So I'm going to be bringing our panel. So I'm going to be getting the midpoint of the neckline at the back. So I'm going to notch it. So I'm also going to be notching the collar, fold it into two and get the midpoint. Then I'll notch that part as well, as you can see. So I'm going to be placing the collar at the midpoint of our actual dress. So you can see I'm pinning it down. You can see the way I'm placing this collar. So this part is what is going to be showing when you fold it. So now you're just going to be pinning it all the way to that button stand. So by the time you are pinning it, you are going to be having 1 inch left for the button stand. So you just try to pin it. Pinning it is very important. So you just pin it all the way, just as you can see. So now what you have left is about that 1 inch for the button stand, just as you can see. So you do repeat the process for the other side as well. Repeat the process for the other side. Please do not rush the process, just take your time. So by the time you are done pinning it down, you make sure you go and sew around that part by 0.5 inches. So you sew around that part by 0.5 inches. So this is what I have after I was done sewing it by 0.5 inches, just as you can see. So remember that interface that we use, which is this black one here. You are going to somehow use it to cover. I'm just going to turn it so I can show you correctly. So you can see the way it is now. I'm on the right side of our shirt. You can see the way it is. Now I'm just going to be pulling the collar in, then fold it in this way. Then I'm going to go ahead and sew 0.5 inch up to where that interface that I had it will stop. So I'm just going to go ahead and do that for both sides. So just carefully do that part. Do not rush the process. You can use your pen to hold it. So by the time I was done, you can see this is what I have. I closed it up a little bit to that point. So remaining opening part, you can just use bias to just hold it down, to stitch it down, to have a neat finishing. So this is what we have. And I use M gum to gum that interface by this side. So you can see what it's looking like now. You can see what it's looking like. So it's looking pretty already. So now we are almost done. So the next thing is for us to attach the sleeve. So now I just measure what you have around the armhole of your sleeve. Just take note of whatever you have, measure it around. So next up, we're going to go ahead and cut the sleeve. So for this sleeve, I have about 9.5 inches in length, plus the folding at the hem, which is about 1.5 inches. Then whatever you have, once for the circumference with ease, you had it there at the bottom. Then whatever you measure at the armhole, you use it to cut, shape out your armhole for the sleeve. So this is what we have. So I'm going to fold it in, then attach it to the shirt. So this is what I have after attaching the sleeve to it. So this is what we have, you can see. So next up, I'm going to go ahead and also fold it at the hemline. Remember I said I added 1.5 inches. So I'm going to take it to the sewing machine and fold it at the hemline to have a neat finishing. So this is what I have by the time I was done stitching it. You can see how our collar looks like, how our shirt collar looks like. You can see the beauty of adding the black to it so that to give it more feel. So in case you have other materials that you want to try out, you can just try it out. So you can see what it looks like. You can see. So guys, thank you guys for watching. Don't forget to hit on the subscribe button, comment, like and share.